And a few hours to the official reopening of schools on Monday morning, preparations are still far from over. A spot check done by Citizen Television has established that construction and renovation works are still ongoing in a majority of schools that were affected by the floods, and works that are yet to start in some of the affected schools. Now, the government is also faced with the dilemma of finding a last-minute place to relocate hundreds of victims of floods who are still living in rescue centers in schools across the country. In the meantime, the Ministry of Interior has announced that the schools that have been adversely affected by the heavy rains will have their opening date delayed. We'll get more from our very own Serfine Achieng Ouma.
Toi Primary School in Kibra constituency in Nairobi, less than 24 hours to the official reopening of schools for second term. This is the situation. Men are still at work to finalize renovations to get the classes ready for learners. A fate that befalls several schools, some of which were adversely affected by floods. At one of the rescue centers in Mathare, a school that is supposed to be reopening tomorrow, the classrooms are still full of families displaced by floods. A majority have nowhere to go, despite having received the notice to vacate the school ahead of the resumption of learning.
Tumeelewa shule nitaka nifunguliwe, lakini mahali ya kuenda ndio hatuna kabisa. Ukienda kuomba mtu mahali ya kuishi na watoto, mtu anakuambia nyumba yangu ni ndogo. Hakuna venye nitakukaribisha na watoto wako.
Idadi wale watu wako hapa saa hii ni 248. How that is the household. Ambaye tuko na imani ya kwamba by kesho watakuwa sorted out ndio shule iweze kuendelea.
The floods have disrupted the livelihoods of a majority of parents, exacerbating the already tough economic situation, leaving parents unable to afford school essentials for their children.
Sasa changamoto tulilo nalo, hatuna vitabu wala uniform. Sasa unajua mtoto wangu ako nursery na kuna mwingine ako class 7 na mwingine ako form 1. Sasa na vitabu zilienda na maji kwa sababu maji ilivyoja ilijaa kitu saa 6 usiku. Ilitushtua tu kwa usingizi.
Wazazi waja kuja na kuja tu mmoja hivyo kuchukua tu kitu kimoja kia kuongezea.
School infrastructure worth millions of shillings was destroyed by the heavy rains, which left many roads impassable, posing a risk to school-going children.
Naomba serikali itutengenezee barabara hii ambayo inatoka pale Nazarin ikikuja pande ya Twara, na kama inawezekana waitengeneze baka iende kule Kitengera ndio tuweze kufanya kazi vizuri.
In Tana River County, Galole constituency, the destruction at Makere Primary School, which borders River Tana, is still evident. The residents have expressed their reservations with the school's readiness to reopen.
Tunaona kuwa kuna hatari kubwa kwa watoto wetu waje wasome hapa. Kuna upungufu wa madarasa sahihi. Compound ya shule inaenda yote, imeanza chini mpaka saa hii inaisha.
In Nyeri County, Kieni Member of Parliament Njoroge Wainaina led a clean-up exercise that targeted over 100 schools which were affected by floods. The exercise involved draining of excess water from toilets to avert any risks to learners and possible outbreak of waterborne diseases.
We have 15 exhausters deployed for this exercise. We intended to do 70 schools, but as we go on, we are getting an appeal after the other, So right now we are closing today with an appeal of 100.
In Homa Bay County, the main rescue centers in Osodo and Kobuya primary schools have been closed and the flood victims relocated to nearby churches. The more than 500 households that had sought refuge at the schools had been relocated by midday Sunday, hours before schools reopen. In the meantime, the Ministry of Interior has committed to ensure safety of learners, parents and teachers as schools reopen. A statement by the ministry announced that the schools that have been adversely affected by the heavy rains and flooding will have their opening delayed as the national and county multi-agency teams ensure that repairs are done to create a safe environment for students.
As we take back our children to school tomorrow, we have put enough mechanisms in place so that they can safely get back to the schools.
The reopening of schools had been postponed for 2 weeks before the head of state gave a green light for the resumption of learning after the Kenya Meteorological Department predicted favourable weather conditions. While the latest update by the weatherman confirmed that rainfall season is not yet over, the intensity is expected to be lower in the coming days. According to the Met Department Director, Dr. David Gikungu, we should expect moderate to occasionally heavy rains as the season comes to an end. Serfine Achieng Ouma, Citizen TV.